Hello everybody. Today we've got a nice Pilates class for you. We're going to be looking at core strength, which is what we include in all our Pilates classes. We'll get into the glutes, and for time maybe a little bit outer hips as well. The only prop that we'll need today will be a tennis ball. If you don't have a tennis ball, just something that you can bring behind your legs so you can squeeze into that ball. We're going to start lying down on our backs. Let's come to lie all the way down. And we'll just start to warm up the core. You can pop your little ball over to the side for now. And just bring your knees up to a tabletop position. Bring your hands to your thighs. Lift chest and shoulders up. Press hands into thighs and thighs back into the hands. Start to warm up the core a little bit. And breathing here and holding. Another 10 or so seconds. Nice, 5 more seconds, hold right there. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Take the feet wide, just allow the knees to knock a little bit side to side. Just get a little bit of movement here. Nice. This first movement that we're going to do, we'll do our single leg marches. So come back to that tabletop position, knees stacked on top of the hips. From here, you can lift the chest and shoulders up. If you want a little bit of support for the neck, you can bring the hands behind the neck here as well. From there, keep the left leg where it is and try and keep that same angle of the leg. So don't bring the knee in. Just drop the right heel down towards the ground and lift it back up and then left heel down. So our knees aren't coming in towards me as I come back up. Just staying there roughly on top of the hips and going slightly forward as the heel comes down. Lift chest and shoulders up a little bit taller. Feel that engagement in your core. Continue to breathe. Going from side to side. That's a pretty gentle way to get started here. Nice, we'll go 5 more on either side. That's 1. 1, stick with it. Lift up a little taller. 2. 2. 3. 3. 4. 4, last one. 5 and 5. Bring the knees into the chest. Rock and roll sideways over that back a few times, over your low back. And now we'll come back to that same position and now we'll do double leg marches. So exactly the same thing we just did, except both heels will touch down. So come back to that tabletop position, hands behind the neck, give yourself a little bit of support, and then both heels touch down towards the ground and come back up. Come down, lift up. Come down, lift up. Come down, lift up. Continue moving, continue breathing. Keep that core engaged. Give me another 10. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get up a little taller. I've sunk down. 5, 6, 4 to go. Stick with it. 7, 8, 9, last one, and 10. All right, bring the knees into the chest and rock and roll up and down the spine a few times to come all the way up to a seated position. So from here, we're going to do our roll-ups. So I'll show you this first one if you haven't done these ones before. A few options with these ones. So the tighter in you curl yourself into a little ball, the harder it is. We're basically trying to keep a connection from knees to chest. I know when I always do it, they come a little bit apart, but I'm doing my best to keep it nice and contained. So being here in this position, this is the hardest. You can bring the hands down to the ankles, which is what I'll show today. So basically what we're doing, we're lifting the heels up, bringing the knees as close towards the chest as you can. And then when I rock back, I'm rolling back just to the shoulder blades. My head and neck is not touching the ground. So I roll back, try and keep myself in a little ball, and I come back up and I don't let the heels touch the ground. I keep them lifted up off the ground using your core to maintain that balance. And then we just continue moving, coming back up to the top, pausing at the top, and then coming back down. So again, just at the tips of the shoulder blades, core engaged the whole time, creating and stabilizing the movement. I like to inhale as I rock back, exhale as I come back up. Make it a little harder. You bring the hands into the shins rock back, come back up, rock back, come back up. Ooh, I touched down that time. Do your best. It's all good. Give me another 5. That's 1, 2, 3. 2 more. Stick with it. 4 and 5. Last one. Come up this time. Hold up. Keep the heels lifted. Then try and lean back just a little bit. And then slowly, coming as slow as you can, back down onto your back. Eventually, you'll just roll down onto the ground. So from here, we're going to do our bicycles. We'll do one-sided bicycles to start with. So just pause here a moment, gather your breath. Nice. And from there, we'll go back to those hands behind the head. Come the knees back up to that tabletop position. Lift up. Reach the right leg away from you. And now I'm going to try and do one-sided bicycle. I'm going to try and reach my armpit to my knee. That's the aim. I don't get anywhere near there, but that's basically the action that I'm trying to create. Create that tension throughout your body, engage your core, then lift up and over to the left and back down. Up and over to the left and back down. We'll do 15 in total on each side. That's 3, 4. I'm trying not to bring that left knee in as well. It comes in slightly for me. I'm trying to keep it as it is. That's another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 1. Come back down. To give yourself a moment. Let's reach the legs away, reach the arms away. Reach in opposite directions. Stretch out the belly a little bit. Beautiful. All right. Come back to that same position. Same thing. Second side. So back to that tabletop position, hands behind the head. This time the left leg reaches away from us. Lift the chest and shoulders up and over to the right. Up and over to the right. Keep going. Engage that core, do your best to continue breathing here. We often hold our breath. We're really struggling, but continue to breathe. Stick with it. That's 8, 9, 10, 5 to go. 1, 2, 3, 2 more. Come on. 4, last one. All right, and rest. All right, take a moment. Grab a drink. Have a couple breaths. And we'll end up back on our back again. We'll get into the glutes a little bit here. So this first one we'll set ourselves up in a bridge position. So the feet fairly close in towards the hips and feet at least hips width apart. You can have the feet a little bit wider apart if that's good for you, but at least hips width is a good position here. From here, take the arms out into a cactus-like shape. Firstly, before you press down and lift up into your bridge, press your low back down into the ground, and then press up into a strong bridge here. Engage your glutes. So you can even bring your hands, if you're not sure how to engage those, bring your hands to your bum and squeeze those bum muscles. Those are your glutes. Press down, lift up, and keep pressing the heels down into the ground. Breathe right here. Nice. Now we're going to do some bridge pulses. So by pulses, what I mean is I'm going to drop my hips just an inch or 2 and drive back up. Squeeze the glutes for 2 to 3 seconds. Then drop hips just an inch or 2. Drive back up. We'll do about 20. So hold right there in your top position. And then we'll do these together. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. All right, let's do those pulses. Drop an inch or 2, drive down, lift up, hold, hold, hold. Drive down, lift up, up, up. Drop down, press down, lift up, squeeze those glutes. And now just continuing on your own, making sure you're holding at the top for a couple of seconds at least, squeezing those bum muscles. They should be working really hard. They may already be fatiguing, and that's good. That's why we're here. Pressing down, squeeze those glutes. Nice, let's go another 10. 9. 8, press down the heels. 6. 5. 4. 3 to go, stick with it. 3, I went a little bit fast on that one. I'm starting to fatigue. 2. Last one, the last one, hold, squeeze the glutes, press down for 10, 9, 8, stick with it, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, come all the way back down. From here, let's just take a gentle figure 4 stretch, cross the left ankle over the right, grab behind the hamstring, and gently pull the knee in towards you. This is more outer hips than glutes, but it always feels good. All right, switch to the other side. Pull the knees in. All right, we're going to do one more from this position. This next one, we're still going to be in that bridge position. This one will be more for the hamstrings. So come back to that position, pick your arms back out to that cactus-like shape. Press down, lift up. And now we're going to do pulses, but what we're going to do, we're going to keep the hips just dropped an inch or two. And then I'm going to create the action of trying to slide my feet back towards me. And this should hopefully, or it should engage your hamstrings. So let's all just come up firstly into our full bridge. Drop the hips just an inch or two. And now pulses, try to slide the feet back towards you. And then when you slide them back and hold, again, 2 seconds and relax. Slide back, hold 2 seconds, relax, and continuing. So with this one, the hips just drop just an inch or two like we did before. Hold that drop position and slide those feet back towards you. This one really works those hamstrings. Beautiful. Stick with it again, holding that squeeze for 2 seconds or so before relaxing. Let's go another 10. 9, glutes are obviously still working here as well, and they're already fatigued. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done, everybody. All right, let's take the knees in towards your chest, take the knees wide, rock a little side to side. Nice, reach one leg out long in front, and any amount, start to straighten that top leg. Maybe it's out here for you, maybe it's here. Gently pull that leg in towards you. A little bit of a hamstring stretch, and switch sides. All right, nice. From there, let's come up to a tabletop position, everybody. Well, firstly, we'll just do a few little cat-cows. So come to tabletop. We'll come into a cow position, so lift your bum up towards the sky, pull the chest forward. This is cow. And now we'll do the opposite. Tuck your tail under, press the ground away, round through the upper back. And then back to that cat position. I like to inhale in my cow position, pull the chest forward. And exhale as I round into my cat. Let's do 2 more on your own with the breath. One more time. All right, nice. This next one we'll do a hovering tabletop. So from this position, hands and knees, curl the toes under, lift the knees just an inch or two off the mat. And from here, if that's enough for you, can stay right there. First for this one, I like to spice it up a little bit by trying to drag my hands back and trying to pull my feet forward. And you will feel that immediately. And really dragging here. I'm really trying. My feet are stuck on my sticky mat. My hands are stuck as well. They're not going anywhere. But I'm trying to pull in opposite directions. And we're holding here for another 20 seconds. If you need to drop the knees for a second or two, do so, but then get straight back up. Continue pulling opposite directions. If you've got a bit of shake like me, that's all good. That means you're working. For another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, pulling in opposite directions, 3, 2, and rest. Whew. All right, nice. Just pause, take a moment. This next one, we'll get into the glutes a little bit more. So a little bit glutes, a little bit of core here as well, actually. Now this next bit of work, and any time we're in that tabletop position, if it's uncomfortable for you to be too long on the wrist, you can take your hands into fists here as well. So find what works for you. So from there, let's reach the right. Actually, we'll start with the left side. Reach the left hip open to the side. Reach that leg back behind you. Lift the leg up and then knee towards the shoulder or the elbow as high as you can get it. And then back to that starting position. Open up to the side. Reach it back. Lift up, height, maintain that height. Bend the knee in towards as high on that arm as you can. Back to that starting position. And we continue. Opening up, straight and back, lift up, knee towards the shoulder. Bring it back in. We'll do another 5 on this side. Open up, kick back, lift up, knee nice and high, and back in. Another 3. I think I lost my count. It's okay. And back in. Nice and controlled with this movement. So don't rush through this. Each movement, think about a separate section to the movement. So we open up. We kick back, we lift up, we pull the knee in, and then back to that starting position. One more here. Open up, kick back, lift up, knee to the shoulder, and back in. Now I say knee to the shoulder because that's what we're just aiming to go as high as you can. You might be more towards the elbow, and that's totally cool. Come back to that starting position. I'm going to show it from the other side just so you can see my other leg. You can stay as you were. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Now we do the right leg. Right leg opens up to the side. Kick back. Lift up. Knee as high as you can get it. Back to our base. Open up. Kick back. Lift up. Pull it in, back to base. That's it. Stick with it, everybody. Open up, kick back, lift up, pull it in, back to base. Open up, kick back, lift up, knee towards the shoulder, back in. Let's go another 5. Kick back, lift up, pull it in. Another 3 here, everybody. 2 more. Stick with it. My wrists are getting a little bit tight. I'm going to come up onto the fists. Open up. Kick back. Lift up. And in. Whew. All right, nice. From here, this is where we're going to grab our tennis ball, everybody, and we'll still be in that tabletop position. So we'll do 3 different movements from this one. So I'll show you the first 3, and then we'll do them one by one. So we'll be back to that tabletop position. So from here, grab your ball or your ball-like shape, something that you can squeeze into your leg that's not going to be too uncomfortable for you. Come back to that tabletop position. From here, I'm trying not to stick my bum up towards the sky, and that it'll end up creating all the movement in your low back. I want a little bit of tuck of that tail. To find the difference, this is the anterior tilt. We want posterior tilt. So come back to that tabletop position. Try and maintain your posterior tilt, and then just drive that leg straight up towards the sky. Straight up, straight up, straight up. I find it helps to flex the toes here, meaning pulling toes towards the shins. Drive it up, drive it up, drive it up. So that's the first movement. The second movement here would be that same position. We drive it up, and now we pull the heel towards the bum, working the hamstrings. The third movement will be a combination. You'll drive up, up, squeeze, squeeze. All right. So let's get prepared. We'll get back to our tabletop position. And we'll start with the first movement, which will be driving up. So press the hands into the ground, a little bit of rounding through the back, tuck the tail under, and drive that leg straight up, up towards the sky. So we're mainly working the glutes here. The hamstrings working as well. We're trying to target it in the glutes. Try not to allow your hip to come in. Try and keep your hip facing straight down towards the ground. So you can even bring your hand to that frontal hip point, that pointy bit on the front of your left hip, and try and keep that straight down towards the ground. Keep driving up, just a few more here. We don't need too many of these ones, fatigue pretty quick. Now keep it lifted up, and now heel to the bum. Squeeze it in, hold. Squeeze it in, hold. Squeeze it in, hold. Squeeze it in, squeeze it in. That's it. Hamstrings are cramping a little bit already. We already worked them previously. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we combine. Drive up, up, squeeze, squeeze, up, squeeze, squeeze, up, squeeze, squeeze. Remaining in that tuck position with the pelvis. Mine's starting to fatigue, so it's coming undone. Squeeze, squeeze, up, squeeze, and squeeze. Whew. Release. And yes, same thing, of course, on the second side. You can stay as you are. I'm going to switch over. And the heat is starting to turn on in this room, so it's starting to get a bit steamy. So from here, I'm going to come back to that tabletop position. And you'll switch sides. For me, I'm going to my right side now. Of course, just switch it over if you did that right side on the first time. So from here, again, that little tuck of the tail. From here, drive that leg straight up, straight up, straight up. Keep driving it up. Really trying to target those glutes. Trying to keep that hip point facing straight down to the ground. Maintain that tuck of the tail. And if you come into that arch position, you'll end up just using your low back rather than your glutes, which is what we're trying to target here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep it lifted up. Squeeze the ball in and hold. Relax. Squeeze it in, hold. Try and maintain that tuck. This is where it really start to get away from you a little bit. Squeeze it in, hold. Squeeze it in, hold. Squeeze it in. Keep squeezing it in. Relax. Keep going. Another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now drive it up, up, squeeze, squeeze. Drive it up, up, squeeze, squeeze, up, up, squeeze, squeeze, up, squeeze, squeeze. 3 more. Up, squeeze, squeeze, up, squeeze, squeeze. I'm losing my ball. Up, squeeze, and squeeze. And relax. Whew. All right. We're going to finish our last bit of real work. We're going to finish with a bit of stuff for the back of the core. And we'll just do nice, simple locust holds. So I say simple, but they're hard. And then we'll finish with a couple of stretches. So come to lie down on your belly, everybody. Facing this direction. And we'll just have the arms back behind us with the palms facing down. You can have your feet together, that's preferable. But if that causes any issues, with your low back, take the legs a bit wider. So come to lie down, and we're just going to do locust holds. So reach those arms back behind you, fingers down on the ground. Start with your forehead down on the ground. Start to lift your chest and shoulders up. Lift your feet up. Lift your arms up and hold. Keep trying to lift the arms up even higher. And I'm trying to externally rotate, so thumbs more towards the sky. This is more for the back, so just engage. Squeeze your belly muscles in and up. And hold. Continue trying to breathe. It's not easy. For 10, 9, 8, 7, get a little taller. 5, 4, I'm shaking. 3, 2, 1. Relax, bring your hands to stack on top of each other. Bring your forehead down. Take a couple of breaths right there. We'll do 3 rounds. So in between rounds, nice, slow, controlled breath. Longer exhales than inhales. I'm not going to breathe too deeply here for you because I'm sure you don't want to hear any of that. Just slow your breath down. All right, ready for our second round? Let's come back down to the ground, forehead down. We'll start in that same position. Lift chest and shoulders up. Lift the feet up. Lift the arms up. If this is way too intense for you, bring either the feet back down or the arms back down or both. Breathing, we won't hold quite as long this time. We're already fatigued. Another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, get a little taller. 3, 2, 1. All right. Again, find a resting position. Come back to slowing the breath down. Got one final round, and then a couple of little cool down stretches, and we'll get you out of here. All right. This is our last bit of real active work here, everybody. So do your best. Last bit of work. Let's go back to that same position, forehead down on the ground. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, lift the chest and shoulders up. Lift the feet up, lift the arms up, or a variation that works for your body. Holding there. Breathing, lifting up taller. Back's really working. Those hamstrings are working to lift the legs up. Glutes are working. Another 10, 9, last bit of work. 8, everything you got. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down to the ground. Sorry, I like to do that sometimes. Just rest there, take a breath or two. And from here, we'll just come to sit up on the shins for a moment, just to get our back just into a more neutral position. Not that was a really deep back bend, but it is a back bend. Just sit here for a moment and just gather your breath more than anything. We'll finish with a couple of light little stretches. So firstly, let's just take a mermaid pose while we're sitting here on the shins. We'll sweep the legs to the right and come and sit back down. So from here, I've got my bottom leg, my left ankle hooking onto that top shin, but it doesn't really matter, you don't have to do that. From there, I'm going to take my right hand to that right shin, little side bend, little mermaid stretch, reach up and over to the left. I like to look up towards the arm and down towards the feet. Nice, let's release that and simply switch sides. Sweep the legs to the other side. Left hand holds the shin, reach up and over. Now I like to look up and back down towards the feet. All right, nice. From here, we'll come into a Sphinx pose. So come down onto your belly, elbows underneath the shoulders, hands out in front of you. Firstly, press the pelvis a little bit down into the ground, and press the elbows down, and gently, with the forearms and the hands, pull your chest forward. So you're putting that spine into extension here. From there, come all the way back up. Work those hamstrings quite a bit, so we'll give them a little bit more love. Reach the legs straight out in front of you. Some of you might be more comfortable to have that little bit of bend in the knees. Just sit up nice and tall, whichever option you're taking. Reach the chest long out in front of you. Grab somewhere on the legs, whether it's the feet, the ankles, or the shins, whatever's comfortable for you. And then just a mild amount of folding forward. Flex the toes towards the shins. And a gentle press of the heels down into the ground. Keep those hamstrings engaged in the stretch. This is our last stretch. So a nice couple of deep breaths here. Nice. From there, we'll come back up, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that class. Yeah, really good for the core. It's always good to work those glutes and outer hips here as well. I'll see you next time. Thank you.